the fate.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me the most momentous.
Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in film, Devin, and today we're going to be sharing our thoughts and opinions, spoiler-free, of course, of the first two episodes of Agatha All Along. Dun, dun, dun. This is the follow-up series to WandaVision in a way, like literally, which is pretty awesome. So if you are a WandaVision stan like I am, welcome. Or if you're just a big fan of that show, this is kind of like the next chapter in that story. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to our show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X, or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. And you can also send us a text message. If you look in the episode notes of this episode or any of our episodes, there's going to be a little link that says send us a text message. You can send us a text message with your movie-related questions. Devin, are you ready to take on the road? I feel like we're gearing up for like a raid.
I was half expecting it to see a yellow brick road, to be honest.
Really? Interesting. I was viewing it more of like World of Warcraft or like Destiny raid. Like, hey, like, oh, no one's ever, survived the road. It's like, well, we need X, Y, and Z people with these specific specifications in order to survive.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, like Dungeons and Dragons. Exactly. But yeah, really quick before we get in, just tell me your excitement level for Agatha All Along. I feel like this has been a long time coming, as we have covered WandaVision on a weekly basis a few years ago.
Yeah, I think when this first got announced, there was a lot of confusion. Like, really, Agatha gets her own show, but I mean, her character just kind of took on a life of her own in that series in WandaVision. Especially Agatha Harkness is just not really a huge character in the comic books, from what I understand. Like, she's not like a main character in any way. She was created originally by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby just to be like a side character in the Fantastic Four, like way back when. Just not a main character at all, but she kind of just took on a life of her own in WandaVision, and everyone fell in love with her and just all her shenanigans. And Agatha All Along, great song, great trap remix. Hopefully we get another one of the new song that came out for episode 2 that everyone's been listening along to. It is on Spotify, so
it is, and Apple Music for all of you weird people out there. I'm just joking. I just don't know a lot of people who use Apple Music.
I tried it for a few months and it just didn't hit.
It never does. But like, everyone says, oh, you can transfer your playlist over, and it's like, I know I can, but like, that's just too much of a hassle. At least for me, it's far too much of a hassle just to go through all of that. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with any of that. I like my Spotify Wrapped at the end of every year. So once Apple starts getting on that train and does their own version,
they already have.
Oh, they have they?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's so weird.
Generic version.
Yeah, that's true. It's weird because I remember Apple, like iTunes used to be your one-stop shop for literally everything, like when it came to podcasts, listening to music, audiobooks, etc. But, they kind of split everything up into their own little entities. But now Spotify, you can listen to audiobooks. And if you're a Spotify premium member, there's a lot of free books you can listen to out there, which is pretty awesome. But I digress. Yes, there's a new song in season 2 of Agatha All Along, which...
Episode 2.
Or, excuse me. Yes, there is a new song in episode 2 of Agatha All Along, which, it just really perks up my ears, and it really set me in the mood for the spooky season. So before I get ahead of myself here, So before I get a little bit ahead of myself here, before we dive into our spoiler-free review of these first 2 episodes, we'll be right back after this introduction to Agatha All Along.
Does this look centered?
Let me see. Maybe if I just put it a little more to the...
No, leave it up. It really elevates the space. Oh, God. Am I the first to arrive?
The rest will be here soon. Please, come in. Right, Agatha?
I don't care, man. Whatever you want.
Can I interest you in a pre-road appetizer? They are old granola bars I didn't have much to work with.
I ate before I came.
Oh, but I don't mind a lapsed expiration date. High Priestess.
Jennifer Kale, potions.
Lilia Calderu, divination. You're bound.
And you need a chemical peel.
This is never gonna work. Your front door is missing.
Alice, how did you...
I'm an ex-cop. It's gonna be the answer to a lot of questions.
Well, gang's all here. Let's hit the road.
And we are back with our spoiler-free review of the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along. This show is created by Jack Schaefer and stars Catherine Hahn, Joe Locke, Sasha Zamata, and of course we have April Ludgate, a.k.a. Aubrey Plaza.
Did you see her Parks and Rec fam showed up at the premiere for her? Amy Poehler was taking pictures.
Yeah. Then Ben came by.
Adam was there. Just a nice, happy family.
Yeah. It's nice to have like those like unplanned little reunions. And the synopsis of Agatha All Along is as follows. A spellbound Agatha Harkness regains freedom thanks to a teen's help. Intrigued by his plea, she embarks on the Witch's Road trials to reclaim her powers and discover the teen's motivations. So I will say, if you have watched WandaVision, I think you know who this teen is, who plays in this.
Yeah, it's funny that he just has the name Teen just for now.
Yeah, his name is Teen. I feel like it's a really bad kept secret, but that is played by Joe Locke, who is in the show again. IMDb just has him as Teen, as Devin said. So I think we both know who it is, and it's going to be pretty wicked once we find out who this mystery revealing teen is. But Devin, I'm going to pass it over to you so you can give your initial reactions to the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along.
Yeah, going into this one, definitely, like you mentioned, I'm excited, just coming off of WandaVision. When was WandaVision? That was like, what, 2021, 2022?
I think it was...
Yeah, 2021.
2021, yeah. It was right. It was a year after the pandemic.
So yeah, it's been a few years. We've been back in Wanda's world. Obviously, we had Multiverse of Madness in between, to kind of give a glimpse into that. And that's kind of where we are in the start of this season, where we're post Multiverse of Madness events, and Wanda is not currently with us, unfortunately. It is sad. I know there's a lot of sad Wanda stands out there, but yeah, I really like the setup for the first episode. I feel like this series was made for you, like at least these first 2 episodes, at least, because I was just watching it and I was like, okay, so this is just Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah,
like, straight up, they just like took Agatha and plopped her into some random Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania town.
Yep.
And they have all the accents and everything. What's his name? Said Water. Herb said Water. And I was like, oh my God, he's got to be eating this up right now. And then it's even the second episode, there's like a That 70s Show type of scene that they pulled out. It's just like, is Christian writing this right now? What is happening?
It felt like it, dude. I was like, this is insane. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure you're eating it up, because it's just like, yeah, it's all for you. And I really like the casting of this series. Obviously, they bring back all the side characters from WandaVision, which was nice. All the neighbors and the spellcast people that Wanda had doing their own little side quests and chores. So they brought all those guys back, which was nice. And then episode 1 is all about introducing a couple of new characters. Like you mentioned before, Joe Locke as Teen, which is what we'll call him for now. That's all we get. But also, very excitingly, we get Aubrey Plaza as Real Vidal, which is that's just perfect casting. Like, you're looking for a witch character. Aubrey Plaza is like the witchiest actress there is. Like,
she's very fit for this.
Like, if Wicked had any courage, they would put Aubrey Plaza in that movie. But I don't think they did.
Imagine?
Maybe they did, but it's not out yet. But I'm guessing she's not in there because she's just the perfect witch, and she proves it the first episode. Just in her limited screen time, her presence just felt, and she looks great, and she's just eating up every scene. And apparently, she kind of teased that her character is also not what meets the eye, and that it'll be revealed that she is also someone else down the line, but we don't know yet.
Mephisto?
I mean, there's already people speculating it could be Mephisto's daughter. Who knows? So we're kind of back into those old. Yeah, we're gonna say we're back to those old days of theory time every week for WandaVision / Agatha All Along. But yeah, I think the first episode did a great job of bringing us back into Westview, and then Agatha being brought back into like reality, because when we last left her, she had been put under a spell by Wanda, and she just seemed like she was kind of still trapped in that. But then Rio Vidal kind of snaps her out of it, and then she goes off with Teen on an adventure to gather up some other witches and find the Witch's Road, which is what episode 2 focuses on. You get a couple great scenes where you're going to different locations and finding other witches and introducing us to them. I'm hoping we get a little bit more of their side story, like their backstories. We didn't get a lot of time with them. So hopefully we can develop some of them in the next few episodes. But I think overall, just a great 2 first episodes. Like, we're eating good with the Penguin and this coming out the same week. It's just a lot to dive into. I think both series are off to great starts.
I couldn't agree more, man. Like you said, these 2 episodes for Agatha All Along, which are respectively titled. Episode 1 is titled "Seekest Thou the Road," and episode 2 is titled "Circle Sewn with Fate / Unlock Thy Hidden Gate." So, like you said, Devin, I had so much fun with both of these episodes. I wasn't really expecting anything like super big, but it really is a direct follow-up to WandaVision. And I've seen a few people online asking, okay, where does this happen in the Marvel timeline? And I feel like we circle back to this question all the time, and half the time I just don't even care anymore, because I don't think we're ever going to get an answer. But we do know that WandaVision happened very soon after the blip. And then we now have Agatha All Along, which, those events kind of are so connected alongside Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Some people think that he might come into this show, and he might. I don't really know, but like you said, Devin, it feels like we're back in the old theory days of WandaVision, and I don't want to go back to those days, because that was the most stressful time to ever watch a television show, because WandaVision was like the first television show that Marvel Studios is ever putting on. And now we have, underneath Marvel Television, we have Agatha All Along. And between both of these episodes, I just loved it. It was so campy, and that was just something I was looking for right after watching The Penguin, which is more of a serious drama. But we know how Marvel operates when it comes to their television shows. This is supposed to be 9 episodes altogether, so it does seem that it is following in the footsteps of WandaVision. But the first episode, like Devin said, it was like they weren't even like, it's just shamelessly plugging.
There's some like little strands of True Detective in there, but it is mostly Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, you can pretty much say like any Yeah, like True Detective. Mare of East, it was just right there. Especially when she walked into that room, I was like, okay, what is this? And she's like longing into this empty bedroom and just looks so freaking sad. I was like, oh my God. Like, like you said, did they write this for me? Because this is amazing. But, you know, when the first episode comes through, like, if you know what's going on, obviously, if you watch WandaVision, then you're going to have a better experience with Agatha All Along, because the first episode is shrouded in a lot of mystery. But
yeah, you can't watch this without watching WandaVision. It would not work.
No, like, I mean, you have so many of the returning characters. You have Mrs. Hart, played by Deborah Jo Rupp, Norm, Herb, Jones coming back, and I'm hoping that we see Dottie at some point, because that's going to be awesome. You know, you get the old neighborhood, you know, family back together. I'm sorry, I'm so freaking giddy, because when I was watching the first episode, you know, it's written as obviously like a Mayor of Easttown type of show, where it's like this detectiveness going on, like Devin said, in the backwoods of Pennsylvania. But the script, it felt so hokey, because
the delivery of Catherine Hahn, like there were so many lines that were just chuckle worthy. Like at one point, I think she just goes, "Eat my ass, Chief," and I was like, "What the hell?" That was amazing. And I feel like that's just the greatness of Catherine Hahn. I feel like some of that might even be improv by her. Like there's just a few lines throughout the 2 episodes where it's like that felt like it was added in by Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, she's always able to play like these snapbacky characters where you just don't know what's going to come out of her mouth. But even the script itself, it was like a old style, like detective, like 80s, like, or like maybe 70s, like TV show where they just say the cheesiest things, but it's so funny. And then of course, as the episode is going on, like you said, you know, Agatha starts to break out thanks to Ariel Vidal's character, played by Aubrey Plaza. And man, she looked amazing in this show. I was like, my God, I forgot Aubrey Plaza.
They took her away for episode 2, but she'll be back.
Yeah.
More.
Oh yeah. She'll be back. She'll be back. But yeah, I think episode 1 was, you know, you get the little bit of the Marvel humor in there, but it was just so cool to see where Agatha had been and where she is now. Of course, like we said, Wanda put her under a spell, and it's like, if you watch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, you know how they killed my girl. They killed my girl, and I'm still mad about it. And that was the only thing that annoyed me while watching episode 1, was that little factor that, like, they kept saying that, you know, she's dead, but it was kind of crazy how Agatha was still under the spell that Wanda put her in even after her death. So I'm like, is she dead or is she not? Because I feel like if she actually died, Agatha would have poof, you know. Like, I feel like that curse would have been broken, but I don't really know how magic works in this realm. But
yeah, we're not studied up on witchcraft.
No, we are not. But we are studied up on melodic tunes, as we got in episode 2. And dude, it's I loved it. Like I truly think they actually wrote this show for me specifically, because there was such, like you said, such a That 70s Show moment with Deborah Jo Rupp's character. She plays Miss Hart. And of course, you know, if you watch WandaVision, you know who she is. It was lovely to see their faces back in this episode, but she just had a very Kitty Foreman like sequence, and I was like, this is amazing. But as you also mentioned, Devin, you know, there are other witches that appear in season 2 where it kind of feels like, you know, Agatha's building up the A-team, or quote unquote the A-team, to you know, take down, go down the road. They're trying to tackle the road, the witch's road. And it gets a little crazy towards the end of the episode where Teen kind of freaks out, and it's like,
Yeah, there's definitely some horror elements brought in towards the end of episode 2, which was nice.
oh yeah, I actually did jump for a second during that.
There's one nice jump scare.
Yeah. There definitely is, man.
And based on the trailers we've seen, there's gonna be a lot of creepy visuals throughout the season as well. We've only got like one of them this episode. There's also some craziness going on that we've seen.
I think Marvel is starting to push the boundaries a little bit more with this show.
Yeah,
And
started with Werewolf by Night, and then
yeah,
moving on to this too.
and not even only that, but I'm not sure if when you were watching, I think it was actually for me for episode 2. You know how they do like it's an ad for Disney Plus that like shows up, but it's not like some random, like other like bounty ad or something. But it was like, oh, like Halloween at Disney. And I think they did a really good job. They're like, hey, we have these shows if you just want to be like a little bit spooked, or, like the dip your toes in your water stuff. And they kept going farther and farther down the list, and it, like scarier things. Like they showed Immaculates at one point. They're like, yeah, you can watch all the stuff on Disney Plus. And of course, Agatha All Along was thrown in there as well. So it's like, I think I like how Disney's starting to kind of recognize that a little bit, where it's like, we need to start making Disney Plus the all around place for all of our consumers. But like you said, Devin, there are a few jump scares in episode 2 for Agatha All Along, and it's not the last, because we did see some pretty spooky scenery within the trailers. So I am all in for this, and I think that these first 2 episodes really have set the mood for people just looking for something to start off their spooky season with.
It's also the premiere of the new sort of division, I guess you can call it, of Marvel Television instead of Marvel Studios. So they're finally separating that out. I think this is a nice way to start that off, because similar to WandaVision, it feels like a television show, which is kind of the issues that we've had with past Marvel series, where, like we said, it feels like movies that are cut up into episodes. But this is definitely something that you can tell was made for television,
right?
Similar to WandaVision,
right? Yeah,
so it's
totally
great to kick that off.
Absolutely. And I actually found a few trivia facts here for Agatha All Along, all spoiler free, of course. But this is the first live action treatment of a Marvel Comics character who does not have their own comic book series.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that a character like this can get their own show. Like I said before, just not a very well known comic book character at all, but she found her way, and she made herself a fan base for the most part.
Yeah. And actually, you mentioned that, this is the first Marvel Studio show with the Marvel television banner. That is a trivia fact here on IMDb. And also, I'm not sure if you remember this, during the marketing for Agatha All Along, previous titles for Agatha All Along included Agatha House of Harkness, Agatha Coven of Chaos, Agatha Darkhold Diaries, and Agatha the Lying Witch with Great Wardrobe, which is pretty funny. But I remember they kept throwing all of those names around, and some people were starting to speculate that those are the names of the actual episodes, which it doesn't seem like they are. I think they were just toying with...
It was just the setup for the punchline of Agatha All Along.
All Along,
which is
yeah.
What it ended up being.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And I will say, out of all of those, I think Agatha Coven of Chaos would have been...
Yeah, that one rolled off the tongue. I didn't like Darkhold Diaries. I didn't like House of Harkness, really.
Yeah, House of Harkness.
And then the last one was just the most jokey.
Yeah, the Lying Witch and with the Great Wardrobe. I thought that was a punchy one, but yeah, I definitely Darkhold Diaries and Coven of Chaos would have been cool. But I love it how it's just Agatha All Along. They kept it simple. It's a very safe route to go, but it works. It works so well. And of course, we already mentioned that this is a spinoff of WandaVision, which came out in 2021. And also, this is the second television series based on a Marvel character that Aubrey Plaza has played someone who did not originate from the comics. And she was previously, Devin, Lenny Busker in Legion. I'm not sure if you watched that show.
No, I never did, but I heard good things.
Yeah. So Aubrey Plaza was also in, this is technically her second Marvel debut, but underneath Marvel Studios altogether.
And it's also been announced that she will be a recurring character after this show. So it's not just a one-off. She's kind of a main character moving forward, hopefully.
Yep. And of course, Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza, both being from Parks and Rec, they automatically have that amazing chemistry, because I do believe that they have shared some scenes together within that show. And also, this is probably the most interesting one, but I think it's amazing. Agatha star Catherine Hahn has agreed that the show is the gayest Marvel project ever, which is great.
I'm sure all the basement dwellers are loving that one, and they're going to be posting angry reviews about it as we speak.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I was feeling there's something between, between Agatha and Vidal earlier.
There's also we also got Naked Agatha, which was surprising. Did not expect that.
Really, Disney is on it. They are pushing the boundaries with the show, and I absolutely love that. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, as we had covered the Penguin earlier, this does premiere the same week as the Penguin, so we have a lot of great television to cover here today. But I think it's amazing how they were just really able to just. I'm surprised that this is actually a show, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because I didn't think this was going to work. And they're really trying to give Agatha her own identity. Especially you mentioned, Devin, and this is here in the trivia, that Agatha Harkness was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, as you mentioned earlier, for the Fantastic Four, making her debut in issue number 94, which was released in October 1969. Nice. She is an ally of Marvel's first family and was the nanny to Reed Richards and Sue Storm's son, Franklin. So I think it's, the character has come a long way, and I think that is something that Marvel has been able to do, is take these completely unknown, next to nothing characters and give them their own identity, which I think is pretty freaking awesome. Hats off to Marvel so far. I'm enjoying both series of the Penguin and Agatha All Along, and I can't really say which one's better, because they both offered two totally different things. I feel like Agatha is more campy, and we're back in Westview, and like you said, we see a naked Catherine Hahn, and it's just they're just we're gonna go as experimental with this as we did with WandaVision, and I'm here for it. But I'll pass it back over to you, Devin. Is there anything you wanted to mention that we have not been able to touch on yet today?
Yeah, I think I'm just excited to see where this series goes. We talked about it off air before, but the season wraps up on Halloween Eve as a double finale, which is very exciting. I don't even know if I've ever seen a double finale before.
I don't think I have either, because with
usually you get the double premiere. That's very common, but double finale, that's bold. I like it.
Yeah, I think they were definitely trying to get this out right before Halloween. And, we've even had triple finales, or not finales, but premieres before. But yeah, like Devin said, the first two episodes are out now as of September 18th and will go through October 30th. So episodes 8 and episode 9 will release on Wednesday, October 30th. So yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. So we're going to have at least 5 weeks of weekly releases in between for Agatha All Along, which, I'm here for, 1,000%. I love the campiness of the show so far. I know I said ratings earlier, but we're not going to be giving our ratings for this show. As I mentioned in our Penguin review, or for any of our series reviews, we're going to be covering the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along. And then once the finale hits, we'll be doing a overview of the entire season of Agatha All Along. That's going to be our spoiler review. So we're going to be talking about everything that happened as we were watching it week to week. And we're just going to have a great time with it. So definitely keep a lookout for that. Halloween's coming up faster than I thought. But you know what? I don't think people... Do you think a lot of people stop watching like scary like movies and stuff like right after Halloween, and they just jump into Christmas? Or do you think if there's more of I mean,
there aren't many Thanksgiving movies out there to take up your time.
Yeah.
So we got Knives Out. That's Thanksgiving. We got
When Harry Met Sally. That's Thanksgiving.
The movie.
Yeah. Spider-Man 1. I will say Spider-Man 1 is a Thanksgiving
Yeah, we can
movie.
count that. But yeah, there's not a lot to choose from. So I think horror can just keep booting into November too. Why not?
Yeah, I feel like it depends on what kind of person you are. It's either you're watching horror like halfway through November, or up until Thanksgiving, and then you get into Christmas mode, or you're like a light.
For us sickos out there, it's year round.
Hey man, I'm not gonna lie. I have listened to a little bit of Christmas music before. It was like Christmas in July though. Like that was the whole thing. But I mean, I'm not
That's
that
just
crazy.
too much.
Hey, I'm not that crazy. Not that crazy. But I think this is a great show so far. And, I'm just excited to see where it goes. It's feeling everything I need this show to be, and it looks fantastic from the trailers, and I can't wait for the episodes to come. And we can't wait to cover it for you guys. Towards the end of, we might be able to get this up by Halloween. I don't know. It really just depends. Do you have any Halloween plans? Do you know who you're going as this year?
I'm not sure yet. Got to figure that out.
Same here, man. Honestly, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. I just don't know. So we shall see. We shall see. I can only be Dustin for so many Halloweens in a row. But then again, gosh, it's such a great costume. Like I can just throw it on, and I'm back in the game. Maybe I'll do Scooby-Doo or something this year. I don't know. I'm very excited for it though. But with all that said, that does conclude today's episode. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. And don't forget to share an episode of our podcast with a fellow movie lover, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Spread the love for the Film Optix podcast. And now let's take a sneak peek at what is coming up next on the show. We're going to be covering movies such as The Wild Robots. There's a lot coming out, but when it comes to movies right now, I know that's what we're going to be covering. Smile 2, maybe, perhaps. There's a lot. But when it comes to the TV side, as I mentioned, we're going to be covering Agatha All Along once that series is wrapped. Same thing with The Penguin as well. So you can definitely keep a lookout for both of those. As far as new review releases, you can listen to our episode 1 of The Penguin, which should be out by the time that this episode has dropped, as well as our Beetlejuice review and our Transformers 1 review, as well as our Alien Romulus review. I'm going to keep plugging that one because it's such a great movie, and I want people to listen to our review because it is the spooky season out there. And with all that said, thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay connected with us by following us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, all the social media garbage for the latest updates. That was Devin, and I'm Christian signing off. And remember, life is like a movie, so go out there and make it a blockbuster.
Peace.